Hello, everybody, and welcome to our very first Asksuite live show. Thank you so much for being with us today. I can see people are starting to join us here, so thank you. This is a very special day. Like I said, it's Asksuite's very first hotel TV cast. So this is our webinar series. We actually have the Hotelcast podcast that you can all find on our blog, asksuite.com/blog, or you can listen to it on Spotify, where we have exclusive interviews as well with hotel experts like David Araya has been in the show, Sarah came from Guest Review. I think Allan knows her. And I think I'm going to give a spoiler right now, actually. Our next podcast episode is with the one and only Glenn Hausman. So I'm very happy with that. It's pretty cool because personally, Glenn has been an inspiration for me. So we talked about his impressions of the hotel operations and how hotels are adapting or not to the new normal. So be sure to tune in. It's gonna be on air next week. So like I said, I'm pretty excited about this show today. We're going to talk about hotel marketing strategies and how to increase direct bookings. And for those who don't know me yet, I'm Paula. My name is Paula. I'm the content manager at Asksuite. And Asksuite is the #1 reservation chatbot powered with artificial intelligence, focused on direct bookings and productivity. And guys, it's not just me saying that. I promise you that. We actually won this year's Hotel Tech Award as Best Live Chat and Chatbot in the industry. So feel free to check our website, asksuite.com, and learn more about our solution. But enough about me. As you all can see, I have two very special guests here with me. They are truly hotel experts, and they are here to share with us their insights and experience about hotel marketing. So, like I said, it's our very first webinar, and I couldn't ask for a better guest. So, first, Allan Nelson. He's the CEO and co-founder of Westside. So, thank you, Allan, so much, and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. Delighted to be here.
Cool. And next to Allan is Rupash Patel, global hospitality leader and hotel industry ambassador. So, thank you also, Rupash, and welcome to the show.
Happy to be on. Appreciate the invite.
Okay, so each of us is talking from a different part of the world, right? So please let us know where you're watching from. Would be cool to know where are you talking you're watching from. So it would be very cool to see. And welcome everybody again. We have a great show ahead. And before we start getting to the hotel marketing strategies, I think it would be nice if you could introduce ourselves to our audience, and I've done it my share. So let's start with you, Allan, please. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And I know it's a lot going on with Foresight, and you guys just announced integration with Guest Review, right? So congrats on that. So please tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, I'm the CEO, co-founder of Foresight. We're based in Scotland. We're based in the UK. We're actually coming to you live from one of our clients behind me here. This is Creef Hydro up at the beautiful Perthshire countryside, where I'm here on a family vacation. I've taken a wee bit of time out just to talk to you. So we were founded in the UK. We have a huge amount of experience over here dealing with independents, group resorts, multiple vendors. We are what's been classified as a hotel CRM product. We're really a guest data management tool, and our vision really is to provide the tools, the technology to allow the hotel marketers to give guests a really cool, really relevant, seamless guest experience around their digital comms before they book, pre-stay, post-stay, retention, bringing them back, and so on. It's for anybody who knows the markets, I'm sure you all do. There's a lot of complex data work that has to go in behind that, and that is something that we specialize in.
Cool, nice. And now it's your turn, Rupash. But before, I'm gonna say hello to Buenos Aires. It's watching us, Texas, Germany. So, okay, so Rupash is in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. Rupash, I saw that you also were celebrating impressive mark of 38,000 followers on LinkedIn, right? So congratulations on that. And please introduce yourself for those who don't know you yet.
Hey, thank you so much again for having us on the show. Hey, my name is Rupash Patel. I own hotels in Central Florida and investor into some other real estate, including hotels. And every day I talk about hospitality and mindset and kind of just inspiring our teams, and then also a group of 38,000 followers on LinkedIn. And every week I do a show live on LinkedIn. And this is my 50th week coming up, doing a live show. So Paula, don't worry about messing up. My only advice is just have fun. And I'm excited to be here and share and talk about my passion, which is marketing, customer service, and really taking our hotels to the next level. When we're talking about 0 occupancy or 10% occupancy or even 30% occupancy, how do you get to that next level? So Allan and I will both be sharing some of these great insights that you can maybe take on. And my only advice to everybody is just learn one thing today. That's it. At least one thing.
Great. That's a really good advice, Rupash, and I think I already messed up in the beginning there, but let's move on. Let's continue. The important is to have fun and that the audience actually learns something, like you said. So, okay, so now that we all know each other, I think we can get into the hotel marketing strategies, which is the topic of the show today. So, well, it's no news that safety is extremely important for travelers today, right? And marketing is being used to communicate new policies to ensure travelers that they are safe. People are still hesitating to travel again all around the world. And we are seeing actually big hotel chains like Marriott and IHG announcing that they will require guests to wear masks in common areas, which is quite a controversial topic. And it is a marketing strategy, right? So, Allan, what do you think about this use of marketing right now as a way to ensure travelers that they are safe? I mean, not before we didn't use that as a marketing, right? As a marketing content, let's say.
Yeah, I think it's important to use the marketing channels as a source of information. I think with the masks particularly, with the mask it depends on which territory and culture you're coming from. I think there's been a different attitude to masks in certain areas and possibly in the US compared to Europe. I think it's been more accepted over in Europe. But I think the hotelier themselves needs to decide what is the best policy to keep my staff safe. What is the best policy to keep my guests safe? And they have to communicate that consistently. And they have to communicate that through a variety of channels. So the message has to get across to the guest before they arrive, because the last thing they want is the guest arriving and not being clear on how it's going to work. And I think what they have to do is put aside any political, opinions or issues and say, look, this is just the way it's going to be in the hotel. We have to try and keep people safe.
Yeah, and like you said, it's like about communication, because it's not enough now that your hotel have new procedures. You have to communicate them to your guests, and so they have the whole information. And Rupash, about this use of the masks, I saw one post that you did on LinkedIn, actually defending hotel professionals, and I'm sure that everybody appreciate that you took that battle, let's say. There are people, there are guests, they refuse to wear masks in hotels, and who is suffering is actually the front desk and the hotel professional that is there and trying to do their work. And I think it was great that you did that you gave voice to the hotel professionals that are struggling with that right now. So what do you think would be the best way for the hotel professionals that are watching us now to deal with this guest that refuse to wear masks? Because it is a tricky situation, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I posted this real quick text about a week ago, or maybe 10 days ago. Now it's gotten over 100,000 views on LinkedIn, and over 3,000 people have kind of supported it. I had to take the comments off initially because I started seeing negativity. And for us in the space, we don't need negativity. We need support. And for us operating hotels, we want to make sure that everybody's safe, not only our staff, our vendors that are coming on property, but our guests also. And so I just took a stance saying, hey, I'm not taking any political stance. I'm not part of a certain party. I just want to make sure everybody feels safe. And whether the government or our local office government says we need to wear masks or it's mandatory, we just felt as a company that we should require everybody that's walking into a close, confined space to be wearing masks to keep each other safe, right? And that was kind of where I went with that post, and a lot of people supported it. Thankfully, they did, because it got the word out, and it also got the message out that, hey, we all need to stay safe within the hotel, because you've heard of a lot of other industries getting affected. You know, of course, the medical industry, they've already talked about wearing masks since day one, but there's also the grocery stores. There's all these other service-based businesses now, restaurants, that are requiring you to wear a mask no matter where you are, especially here in the United States. And so it was a big opportunity. And here's one thing that we actually did at our hotels. Well, the local government said, hey, we recommend that everybody that's in a close confined space indoors wear masks and social distance themselves 6 feet apart. Well, we put that sign that the local government gave us and put it on our door that it said it was required or recommended. Well, we saw less than 30% of our guests wearing masks when they came in. And that was like, oh, we're still afraid that people are going to give us something, right? And not only that, if we're asymptomatic, we can give it to somebody else, our team members or other guests. So I actually said, you know what, we're going to stop this right now, and we're going to require everybody to wear a mask. And I actually created, with my designer, we created a sign that says masks required in big letters, because I saw this at other restaurants and other places that I traveled. And I just took a road trip to the Northeast driving. And everywhere I stopped, it said masks required. And I said, why aren't we doing this locally at our hotels? And so I made this sign up. And if you want this free downloadable sign, it's free. Just go to smartguests.com, and it's right there on the homepage, and click on the PDF, and you'll be able to download it right there and print it out and put it up on your desk or your front door, your desk, any entrances at your hotel, and show them that you do require it. And now what we've seen is, from us arguing with guests, which we don't really want to because we're in the hospitality industry, right? We should be taking care of them. Now they understand, oh, I need to go get my mask, right? And so now we actually said we're not going to be confrontational with people, but most people are now 90+% are wearing masks as they enter. So this is a great marketing opportunity for you to tell people that you're safe at your hotel, right? And guests feel safe when this is happening. I felt the same way when I was walking into these restaurants. So, you know, I think this is an opportunity when you can put out a message online or offline or on your door and make people feel safe right now.
Yeah, totally agree. I think like we said before, and communication is the key, right? I think regardless of our political view, if the hotel policy is to wear masks or whatever, you have to communicate that and not be it's not that you want to argue with your guests, like you're saying, Rupash, but maybe educate the guests and the audience, right, about your policy. And Allan, you are on vacation right now.
I am.
And yeah, so you are a guest. And what do you feel as a guest? You know, this experience of these new procedures and the communication of what hotels are doing?
I think the issue has been politicized. I think people have an opinion, and I think they're entitled to that. I think hotels want to bring people in and give them, you know, let them be themselves, let them have their own thoughts, feelings, opinions about how things should work. But sometimes you need to say to people, we've actually made a decision and this is how it's going to be. Because otherwise you will get non-compliance. You know, I mean, it's kind of like the idea of, you know, we don't want you running up and down the hotel shouting at 3 o'clock in the morning, because it will wake other people up. So, and in some ways I kind of feel that's the same with masks. Now interestingly here, the option for masks is it is voluntary by the hotel. So the majority of people, there's some people wearing masks inside the hotel, there's some not. It's a big hotel. There's a lot of open public space. There's outside space as well. It is Scotland in the summer. So, you know, the outside space sometimes can't always be used, but people are keeping a respectful distance. There's very few people will argue about the use of masks or about the need for sanitation, hand washing and everything else. And culturally, the British generally are a nation of rule followers. We generally do what we're told, so long as the messaging is clear from authorities. In the case of Scotland, the government here has been very clear on what the rules are and what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing. And as a population, we've generally followed all of that. And I think, without trying to get political about it, if the leadership at the top is sending out mixed messages and confusion, it creates confusion all the way down the chain. And I think what Rupash has said there is you just have to make a decision to say, I'm going to have to go this way, and everybody's going to have to either like it or take their business elsewhere, because we can't, we just can't have it both ways. Now, the case of Florida and the Southern American states, they should have a lot of outdoor space. So therefore, there's certainly been a push in here in Scotland, but the weather maybe isn't as nice, to get people to sit outdoors, to get people to sit apart. So, so long as it's clear, you have to make a decision, and it has to be clear, and then it has to be communicated across the various channels. And I agree, what you've come down to there is probably the most analog solution going, which is a big sign that says this is what you have to do. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me say hello here to people that are still coming in and joining us from India, from South Africa, New York. Welcome, guys. We still have a lot to talk about, and still on the hotel marketing strategy, of course, but not so much focus on the wear of masks now. I guess that big hotel chains realized very fast that it's not enough to adopt new protocols, like we said, but also communicate them. I'm gonna focus on that, the communication. And even here in Asksuite, we have clients all around the world, and very early in the pandemic, our clients started to get many questions about their new policies, new procedures, and so we made it a task force to include COVID-19 topic in our bot, because there was so much questions and people were hesitating and all that. So what I'm gonna say here is that, okay, so you have a strategy, a marketing strategy that is to inform people about what you're doing and your policies and all that. But I think what sometimes happens with some hotels, and especially now that have fewer resources, is that you create a campaign, you do it, but then you don't have people to answer, right? And then you don't grab these opportunities, because I think that the trend now is direct booking, because since we have so many questions, we want to go directly to the hotel instead of going to OTA, for example. So Allan, I'm gonna start with you. Do you think that hotel marketing should be a little bit more connected with customer service? Because we are used to see hotel marketing with sales, right? Of course, they are very combined, but this part of grabbing the opportunity, you create opportunities, and you have to have some way to answer the demand that you are creating, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have to be able to. I think the COVID crisis has given that opportunity to hotels to have that direct relationship with the consumer, apart from the OTAs, because I think hotels need to build that level of trust with the consumer directly, or the consumer needs to build the level of trust with the hotel. They need to be sure that they're going to, it will be cleaned. I mean, the whole concept about staying in a hotel was, somebody else was in it the night before, they've cleaned the room, yeah, great. Where suddenly right now, somebody who was in it the night before could have had COVID. Well, hang on a second, that means my room is going to have to be cleaned a lot more deeply. How are they going to do that? What is going to be in the room that they've maybe missed or they haven't cleaned? Will they leave the room fallow for 24 hours to actually clean it properly? All these questions that have never really been asked before by a guest are suddenly being asked. And therefore what the hoteliers need to do is preempt them and say, and get those answered before they even ask them. And also they cannot rely anymore on the OTAs to do that. Because the OTAs, with the best will in the world, the OTAs are doing things at such scale. That's not really what they're set up to do. They are set up to market hotel rooms and give consumers, a huge, list of options. So the hotelier has that opportunity to talk directly, because the guest wants to talk directly with them. So a lot of the thing about OTA traffic was convenience. I put it into Google, I get a list of hotels, I pick the one closest or the cheapest or whatever it is, and now I'm going to pick the cleanest one. Yeah, but I know that Google's not going to tell me what the cleanest one is. That hotel is going to tell me how clean they are. So therefore, there's the opportunity to connect. And we're certainly seeing that from our side with quite a lot of direct bookings coming through, and a lot of conversations going on between the hotels and the guests. And in some ways, a lot more information going out to guests, which then affects, how does the guest journey look? Because one email sometimes, pre-stay doesn't really cut it anymore, because what the hotels want to do with their, they still want to market, they still want to upsell, they still want to cross-sell, as well as saying we're really safe. So they're working out now at what point do we put the COVID messaging into our emails, because if I'm trying to upsell dinner, or in the case of this resort, there's lots of activities going to go on behind me here. I want to sell those. I want people to enjoy those, but I probably don't want to put it in exactly the same message as we're going to clean your room really well so you don't catch something and get really sick. So it's how they're dividing that up, and they're using, certainly we're seeing they're using the technology now to set up the automation to allow them to do that, and they can manage the various elements and content around that. But it has to be as long as the message is consistent through it, but also when do I mention the elephant in the room? And the elephant in the room is, for the best will of the world, you're not going to catch something and die when you come to the hotel, and that's what they're having to fight with at the moment.
Yeah, and Rupash, before you put your consideration as well, just to give you the audience an idea, a survey conducted by Guest Review now shows that 45% of travelers will be looking at booking directly, while only 16% say they will go to an OTA. So I think there is a good chance, good chance to it's a good opportunity to take advantage of, don't you think, Rupash?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's like Allan saying, that journey is super important, and especially now where people are doing a lot more research than just talking about the rates or talking about a location. They're really talking about how safe am I going to be, and this is the journey that they're taking. So as they have been planning, and they're going to be planning for next year too. So it's not just they're only planning for the summer, or they're planning for the winter, or they're planning for a vacation here in the next couple months, but they're planning for next year too right now. So this is a great opportunity for the pre. And so I like to bucket my journey, or our guest journey, into 3 different phases. It's the pre, during, and then post. And those are all marketing opportunities for your hotel. And the most important is the pre, because you're trying to attract them. And there's so many, like we could talk about this for like 3-4 hours on all the different channels, how you should optimize, how you should update your descriptions. But the top ones are definitely Google. So if you're looking for direct bookings, please update your Google listing like today and show them. And I always like to say, update summer 2020, and then change it when it's fall, change it when it's winter, change it, change that description all the time. And highly recommend updating your descriptions on every single channel, because that's an opportunity. As soon as they jump onto your into a search, they see this hotel actually updated their listing, and it's not the award that they won in 2016, right? Most hotels are like, oh, we're the award-winning hotel in 2016, 17, 13, or 2008, and they haven't updated their description. Huge opportunity right there when we're talking about people searching is update your descriptions. And I not only booking, but on your main homepage of your website that says summer 2020, we have changed, right? And then what you've actually done to keep guests safe, right? I love that part. And we did that as soon as this thing started. We said, we're going to update all our descriptions because it makes sense and people are looking for it, right? They're looking for that. And I also say update your FAQs, right? So if you're not using a chat bot, people are going to your FAQ page, and it shouldn't be like, do you serve breakfast? Because most hotels have limited breakfast, or they have that bag to go breakfast. Now they're get the 20 questions that your front desk gets every single day right now in the last couple months, put those into the FAQs, because you'll see that a lot of people are asking those same questions. Same thing in the chat bot. I'm sure you guys have done the update on the COVID stuff, but on property, like, is your pool open? Yes, the pool is open, and here's how we're keeping guests safe, right? If it's by if you're limiting the people coming into the pool, or if you're limiting your gym, or limiting the F&B side, or anything that has services related to it, outlets at your hotel, as far as, restaurants, gift shops, anything. What are those questions? And if you're getting them all the time, throw them into your FAQ. So your description is going to be the biggest opportunity for you to convert a researching guest into a booking guest directly.
Yeah, update websites, guys. They're listening to us. That's really a great tip, Rupash. And following, of course, the marketing strategy topic, now let's talk a little bit about how to target guests, because many hotels had to completely change their guests. I mean, if you were a hotel that have many international guests now, well, now you're gonna have to be more local. And if you are one that is more corporate, you're gonna have to change it too. Accor hotels, for instance, they changed the design of their rooms, transforming them into office. Allan, I think you mentioned a little bit, but hotels are offering also Staycation. I think it's big there in the UK. So how can hotels can adapt? And I'm sure that technology can help a lot in finding these new guests, right?
Yeah, there's kind of two main areas that we're seeing. The first one is the Staycation, because for the last 3 or 4 months, we were told it wasn't safe to go to the end of the street, let alone go to the nearest pub or go to the bar or go to a hotel. So people very, very quickly changed their plans and said, actually, I'm not going to fly abroad. Obviously, in this part of the world, there's all sorts of places we can go within 1, 2, 3 hours of the flight. So we've changed that. And therefore, okay, well, I'll go an hour up the road to a big hotel and we'll stay self-catering. So there's going to be I've talked to people in the hotel here. There's a lot of people like us who were going to travel to Italy, to Spain, to France, and have now decided to stay at home. The other area of this is more from a business commercial aspect. Our business, for example, we have 25 people who work in the very centre of Edinburgh. We have a nice office there. The office hasn't been used for 3 months. It's a glorified server cabinet, and everybody's working remotely. So we're looking at it as the owners of the business, going, okay, well, what should we do with the office? What's the best thing for the team? The team are working well remotely, but they need to get together. They need to socialize when everything is safe again. But we may not need, to pay for rented office space from 9 to 5 Monday to Friday. So what do we do? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll talk to all the local hotels. We'll find meeting space. We'll find social space. We'll find a big room like the one I'm in at the moment, which has a big screen, which has technology, which has high-speed internet. And we'll get the team together and we'll socialize and collaborate. And we don't need to pay for the office for that. We make sure we have a budget every month of doing that. And we're probably going to spend it with hotels. So I can see a business stream opening up, or a WeWork. We only have one WeWork in Edinburgh, so unlike London, but there's and different types of shared office space. I think there's going to be a huge demand for that. So, and that in some ways is I think how the hotels get back into the corporate market, because the corporate market obviously is dried up with people traveling great distances for a 1 hour meeting. I think that I don't know how many times I've done that going to London, and I think that has changed. But how many times will I then be traveling with my team to go into the centre of Edinburgh and meet in a hotel for a day, and then spend the night in the hotel for those who are commuting for a longer distance, have the social, have the drink, food, and everything else. And I think there's a big opportunity for market that. It means hotels will repurpose space. Some will repurpose rooms. Some will change some of their meeting space or their banqueting space, and they're already doing that. And I think so. How do you take advantage of that? You for example, your B2B sales team, for example, they know they're not going to get what they would call traditional corporate business for the next 6 to 12 months, but can they get business from some of the local businesses in the city, particularly technology businesses that really actually have suddenly realized we don't need this office space in the traditional model. So who can we target? Who can we talk to say, hey, come in and use our space twice a month, and here's the rates for it. What do you need? What technology do you need? What space do you need? What teas and coffees, drink, whatever else? And I think there's a real opportunity there. But I think that market's going to be very fluid and change very, very quickly. And it will work differently for 3-4 star hotels, city centres, compared to maybe 5 stars, who will probably not get as much commercial business, but will still be looking for obviously kind of very high end staycation business. So yeah, I mean, and a lot of that, the hotels will already hold the data that the targeting data for that, because it's in their PMS for the guests who have stayed local. It's often in their B2B systems. It could be a B2B CRM. It could be something, it could be one of the sales and catering systems. And they should be in there mining that and saying, okay, what do we go, what data do we have? Who should we be targeting? And then going after that. And going after it pretty quickly because the market is changing very, very quickly. But ultimately, people, we are social animals. We like to meet up. We like to be creative. We like to collaborate. But what we're realizing as society, particularly for white collar workers, which is where hotels business really is that we don't need to do it 9 to 5 in a certain place. Why do two spaces exist for us as human beings? Given how technology has suddenly enabled this shift to work from home. I mean, we're a technology business, and I couldn't believe how good Zoom and Teams was.
Yeah.
So that's changed the way that we do business. But I still want to get together with my team. I still want to collaborate. We're not going to be able to do that all the time, in this form. So I think that's the opportunity for hotels. And hotels are ideal locations because they've got the space. And very importantly as well, they've generally got very high-speed internet because the pressure that's come on from guests in the last number of years to have enough internet speed to cope with Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever. So, so it's all in the data.
I totally agree. I think we won't go back to how we used to do business before. I think home office is coming, work remotely it's coming to stay. I do think that we still need some, like you said, we're social humans, so we like to socially interact. So we still want to meet. But yeah, this is a great. I think too that's a great opportunity. And Rupash, you've been in traveling, you're doing some road trips, and did you meet any guests there? What is your impression about who is traveling right now and how hotels can target them?
Yeah, so us in Florida, and then I did take a road trip to 6 different cities last month, or actually the beginning of this month now. I can't believe it's almost August, right? I can't believe it. We've been going through this for almost 5 months now, and it's been crazy. During my travels, I did talk to guests. I also talked to hotel staff. I talked to hotel owners and GMs along the way. And a lot of people are traveling. They're doing the road trips this summer. And a lot of hotels that were focused on the convention business, the business traveler, and business to business, really the salespeople, they're now focused and they've shifted over a little bit. They're still getting a little bit of business from these business travelers. There's still people traveling. So here's the thing, it didn't 100% stop, but and really, really depends on your location and where you are. If you're right next, and if you got 100% of your business from, or 90+% of your business from a convention because you're right next to the convention center, well, yes, your business is going to be slowed down, and you might have closed your hotel for a few months because you saw zero occupancy, or you might have really limited your staff. What we're seeing is a lot of hotels, we're in the mid-scale and select service business. So we're not the full service. We're not the high-end hotels that we all have been to and appreciate. We have the traveler that is blue collar, that is also traveling on the road. Their families want to stay safe by not flying. And by the way, I did fly this summer. It was safe.
Oh.
I did fly. So it was safe.
You felt like it was better than you expected, or
yes,
because or differently.
Oh, it was different. The airports were dead. So I flew out of Orlando into Hartford, Connecticut, and it was completely dead airport in Orlando. I've never seen Orlando International Airport this dead in my entire life. It took me 1 second to go through security, and I was surprised. But what I did appreciate, there was signage everywhere. People cared. It was the cleanest I've ever seen this airport, because think about this. You have travelers from all over the United States and the world traveling to Orlando because of Disney and our theme parks. Well, all that's changed. You see people now, our airport workers and people that are working at the airport really cleaning up and keeping it safe. And so I felt like the airport was the cleanest it's ever been. And the same thing at our hotels. Wherever I traveled, we feel like this is the cleanest it's ever gonna get, right? And moving forward, because people are worried. And I think that hotels want to be safe for themselves and as well as guests, because think about this. If you have a bad review that this hotel didn't do anything, how much is that going to hurt you in your marketing, right? And we're talking about marketing today. So a lot of hotels have shifted over, and we talked about descriptions, but then also, did you update, and this is an opportunity for all of us, did you update your pictures? update your video, right? And that's a huge opportunity when you're talking about coming in and searching. And I like to search. My wife likes to search. You know, everyone's searching right now for their next trip. They're looking at pictures. So have you updated your pictures as far as a marketing opportunity, or is this the same picture from 2015 or later, right, or older? That's a huge opportunity where we're talking about getting a booking, right, a direct booking. So on your website, on Google, on all the OTAs, on even TripAdvisor, upload your pictures. And if you're not able to afford a picture right now, or a professional photographer, your phone is the same resolution, right? So there's no opportunity, there's no excuse right now to not have updated pictures, and show what you're doing, how you've changed, what chemicals, the process that you're using, and put those up. And it's not like every picture needs to be about COVID. Take a small percent, 10% of your pictures, and make sure that they're focused on the cleanliness, and show people cleaning, right? It's not just telling people that you're cleaning, but you're showing them too through videos. And so the other part of the online marketing is your pictures, but then also your video. And same thing, use your phone and pick different spots in your hotel, right? It's kind of like you traveling, you're thinking about what's going on. Now you might be able to take a virtual tour, but that video is like the hottest opportunity right now too. Pictures were, 5-7 years ago. Video is the king of content right now. And update your pictures. Tell them, welcome to the hotel. Hey guys, I'm Rupash. Welcome to my hotel. This is how we're keeping you safe this summer. This is what we're doing. And then go and break out in these different departments. Housekeeping, how you're keeping people safe, what your cleaning process is, pool, F&B, right? All of these different opportunities that you can attract people. And guess what? That content gets shared on social media. So there's a huge opportunity to attract guests through advertising. So Google advertising, if you've never done Google advertising, it's probably an opportunity right now to put a small budget into it. Because I feel like a lot of hotels, they just canceled everything in their marketing, and now they're not doing anything, right? We didn't. We doubled down on the channels that actually brought us business. So we looked at our past 6 months or the past few months and said, hey, we're even now, with the last 3-4 months, where did your business come from? Double down on some of those, and just don't go out and throw money out, but pick opportunities. So if you got a lot of bookings through Google, right, through your Google listing, hey, it might be an opportunity to do some Google advertising, right? And right now, they're offering some really great incentives. I got $300 this past month on getting free advertising on Google just by having a business account, right? And there's opportunities like that for you to go and reach out to them when guests are not coming to you. You can go out and target people. So look at what guests you've had in the past, and align those with social media. So we're talking about Facebook advertising, we're talking about social media advertising, and definitely Google. And that's an opportunity right there, right? And here's the best part about Google advertising that I learned a while back. They're willing to get on the phone with you and show you exactly how to do it. So you don't have to hire a third party to go and do it. Sometimes you can do it on your own. Now you don't want to mess up and spend thousands of dollars and then you didn't get a single booking. So there are some opportunities then to reach out to professionals that may help you optimize your listing and get the great conversion that you need instead of just wasting money. So those are kind of just my real quick tips on this thing when we're talking about pre.
Well, both of you said very interesting things. One thing that you mentioned, Rupash, is about the videos to show what you're doing. And I remember when I talked to Glenn in the podcast, he said something that I thought was really cool. He said, now if you do your cleaning procedure before you used to do at 6 a.m, you have to do at 3 p.m. so everybody sees that your hotel is doing what they're doing. So you really have to show what you're doing. So, and another thing that you said, sorry Allan, another thing that you said, Rupash, it's about online reputation. I think it's crucial now. We need social proof more than ever, because we don't want to be the first ones going to somewhere right now. I mean, we want to know, we want to learn what other people experience. So yeah, Allan, I think you were going to say something.
Yeah,
so please.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I was going to pick up on there. Talking about flying and your experience about it being safe. It feels safe because the airlines and the airports have decided they have to make it feel safe, because otherwise people will never do it again. And this, I was on a call listening to a webinar of some of the travel tech VCs who were talking about it, and I'm old enough to remember 9/11. They said at the time, it was a very good point, they said basically that the feeling after 9/11 was that nobody would fly for very obvious reasons. And then Thanksgiving came, and then what happened in the US, of course, is that everyone had to fly because they had to go home. So they then got on a flight, they then went home, and they then got back on a flight and went back to their, to where they lived, and suddenly it was worked and it was safe, and therefore people got reconditioned and said, actually, it's not as bad as we thought. And I think that's what's going to happen longer through the COVID thing. But I think that's what's going to happen. And I think the feeling that you had in the airports, Rupash, with Orlando, is exactly that, because the businesses basically upped their game. The organizations upped their game to get people through it, get people working again. You also mentioned conventions. Kind of going back to the point I made earlier on about flying for an hour's meeting in London. I think what you're going to see with conventions is, once it's safe to do so, I think conventions are going to be absolutely critical to people doing business, because I think what will happen is that everyone will cram all their meetings into 3 days at World Travel Market London or High Tech or whatever, and just do more and more and more, rather than just fly short haul flights to go and have 2 meetings here and 1 meeting there. A lot of it will be crammed into the convention, so they're getting multiple hits, multiple goes at it with one event or a series of events. So I think it's going to be a huge opportunity. Nobody can say when that is actually going to be. And certainly, and my last point, in terms of the data that we hold on behalf of our clients for the CRM, more and more are taking that data and doing the lookalike modeling in Facebook and Google with it. So it's ours, email's one channel, obviously, but we're seeing a lot of people, I have these guests, I know who they are, I'm going to put them into Facebook, obviously with the right permissions, and say, I want more people like it. And I think that's a very obvious way to do a lot of retargeting.
Yeah, that's a great tip.
Oh, sorry, Rupash, go.
No, I was just saying that's a great tip, Allan. Using your email, email still, people think email is dead. Email's still a huge viable source for you to gain business. And I've talked to a bunch of DOSs, and DOS is the director of sales, that go out and reach out or do work for a lot of hotels, not just one hotel. And they're saying there's still opportunity out there if you're going out and reaching out and keeping that connection. So the opportunity is not just online or through your messaging, but it's also that human interaction that we appreciate in hospitality, is still go out, reach out. That phone call still matters. That email that you send out to your potential or your past guest or that group still matters, to keep in touch with them, right? How are you guys doing? How's business at your location? What's going on? Making them feel special, making them understand that you care, instead of just like, hey, we're running a special for $100 a night or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's transactional more than, it needs to be human. You still have to have that human touch when we're talking about marketing, we're talking about sales, because those people will remember you when they're thinking about reopening for a convention like Allan's talking about, or thinking about making up a travel. Okay.
It's a relationship-driven business. It always has been throughout history. And I think, best hotels, originally Foresight was founded on a 5-star hotel saying, we know we have all this great data in here. It's very difficult for us to get at it for various reasons. But we want to understand our guests and talk to our guests like our concierges do. And that for them was the absolute key, is how can I do this at scale? How can I do this with guests that give them the same level and feel of relationship that my really good concierge does with them? And if the industry can crack that, then I think that's where they get a really great direct relationship.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, and Allan, like you were saying, the data can provide us really, really good resources to personalize, and this is your expertise, I know. And also, it reminds me of one concern that I think everybody have with data security, which I think it's a key for you at Foresight. So could you let our audience know a little bit more about this issue? Because we talk about personalizing and getting data, but what about security, right?
Yeah, obviously us being based over here in Europe, UK, Europe, let's not talk about Brexit. We obviously went through the GDPR experience 2 years ago. There was variously wide ranges of interpretation of what GDPR would mean, whether it would shut down all personalized marketing efforts, whether it would be a hard opt-in, a soft opt-in, all that type of stuff. I mean, we're now about 2 and a bit years into it, and it's mostly settled down into an interpretation of, particularly when it comes to direct email type marketing, into legitimate interest for paying customers. So basically, someone signs up, someone transacts with your hotel, you have a reasonable right to market to them, provided you're selling the same or similar services, and provided you give them a big button to opt out, fine. So that's what we tend to proceed on. Obviously, in the case of the US, go back a stage, I think Australia and New Zealand are bringing in something similar, or maybe have already done so. Brazil was looking at it as well. It started to appear in some of the US states, probably the more Democrat ones. I think California, for example, has one too. And it's all going to be various interpretations of that. It's the balance and push and pull between the rights of the individual to privacy and the rights of a company or business to try and understand personalized services to them. I think you're going to see an interesting push and pull in the States in the US in the next number of years. Obviously, yesterday the 4 CEOs were brought before Congress, and they, I think the US treats privacy a little bit differently. Generally, about if you hand over your personal information to a company, it's fair game. And that's not the attitude in Europe, and that's why GDPR came in. So we've been very used to dealing with that. We've been very used to making sure that our clients understand what data protection means, what their websites do with it, what their CRM does with it, their PMS, and all the way through, and making sure that the technology is there for a guest to opt out. And if a guest doesn't want personalized information sent to them, then that's fine. They just opt out and off they go. So we've had that experience in GDPR, but there's kind of 2 other aspects to working with guest data, working with personal data that we have to be very mindful of. The first one is it's kind of leads on from that. It's kind of the rights of the guest. It's ultimately a guest hands over the data to you, and they trust you with it. A guest goes into a very trusting relationship with a hotel. I mean, I trust this hotel here to make sure that they don't catch fire and burn down when I'm sleeping, to look after my family. I also trust the hotel to be clean enough not to give me and the family COVID. So I put a lot of trust in them keeping me safe, and I expect the same from the data. I expect them to use the data responsibly. I expect them to give me a reasonably personalized experience, to suggest things I might want to do. I would expect the right to turn that off. And in some cases, if I'm a corporate traveler, I maybe don't want any kind of personalization at all. I just want to go to my room. So we have to bear in mind that trust. And trust in terms of an interesting story about the matching routines that we developed for Foresight, because of it, you'll all understand that the hotel technology is pretty siloed. Spa systems don't talk to PMSs, don't talk to golf systems, and so on. So we developed some matching routines to match all of those together, and we also developed the matching routines also work within the PMS itself to solve the issue of duplicate profiles. What we learned very early on, because our background is financial services marketing, was that the matching routines that we would use in financial services for direct mail are very different to what we'd use in hotels, because one weekend a Mr. and Mrs. Smith may come to the hotel, and then the weekend after Mrs. Smith may come with somebody else. And it's not up to the hotel to decide to match those records together. It's up to the hotel to be discreet about what is happening in their hotel. So we had to, there's a trust placed in the hotel, to be responsible. There's also, the other aspect to this is keeping guest data safe. There's a kind of wider aspect to data protection, which is basically, I kind of trust the hotel won't get hacked. And that often doesn't, that hasn't been the case over the last few years. There have been the occasional bit of high profile hacking, because hotels often legally have to hold quite a bit of personal information about the guest. That could be name, address, dates they'll be away from their house, passport details, in some cases credit card details. And it's incumbent upon us as vendors to say, we don't hold credit card details because we don't need them. So we shouldn't have them. We also, as a vendor, need to have bank level encryption. We need to have proper level encryption around our data. We need to have 2-factor authentication. We need to be careful with who gets access to the system. There's all these things that we have to consider as a vendor and somebody that is holding on to the hotel data. And that is what I would expect of the hotel that I'm staying at and the systems that they have too. So all of these things have to be factored in to the whole technology process around a hotel, which it's been difficult for hotels because of the age of hotels and because of the age of the technology infrastructure that hotels have inherited in some ways. PMSs have been around for a long time. PMSs often didn't play very well with any other vendors. That's changing. It's another story. It's another webinar entirely. But so how all these systems interact with each other, how they play well together or not together, and how they are secure is something that we have to consider as well.
I think this is, like you said, it is a very huge topic, and for sure we could try to do some webinar about it, because a lot of hotels are now looking to technology a little bit closer. So I think it's a very valuable information that you're giving us today. And before I go to Rupash again, I want to thank everybody that is sending us questions here, and we're gonna try to answer. That has one here, Rupash, that it's about online. Let me see here. The reviews that you mentioned before, right? So Jamie McBride says, how important do you think reviews are going to be on direct bookings and marketing around COVID? Do you think guests are going to be looking for reassurance from other guests that hotels is safe, clean, and etc.? I think we already said a little bit, but if you could add some more to the topic.
Yeah, I mean, reviews are one of the things I'm super passionate about because it's helped my business grow and become number one in a few markets. And I see the power of having amazing reviews for your hotel or any business that could change the way you operate and the income that you make, right? It's basically make or break. And right now we're all thinking about going to a restaurant, right? We're not just going, but we're thinking about, we're looking at their reviews. It's kind of like Amazon. We're all buying stuff from Amazon. Amazon stock's gone through the roof, right? Because we're all home right now ordering stuff online because we don't want to go out to the stores and we want to be safe. And it's probably even cheaper now buying through Amazon. But if you see, I'm just going to give you an example. You see this phone right here, right? And I always look at the Amazon effect. This phone right here on this side is $100. This phone on this side, same phone, is $100. Now, if this one on this one has 2,000 reviews, maybe 3-star, and this one only has 2 reviews but 5-star, which one are you going to buy, Paula?
With the best reviews, of course.
You're going to most guests and actually most customers, they buy with the most reviews, right?
Yeah.
More people believed in that product. More people bought it, even though it's a little bit lower rating than just 2 reviews or 3 reviews that are 5-star. Same thing with our business. We're looking at a lot of reviews. So highly focused. Don't just stop on the reviews. Like, you're focused on the cleaning part, but this is a huge marketing opportunity when you're talking about people, converting people from looking and researching to converting them into a booking. They're still reading what other people are saying. Like, is this hotel safe? I don't want to hear from the hotel. I want to hear from other guests that just stayed, right? And so, Allan, when you leave this hotel, I hope that you leave a review that not only was it comfortable, but also it was safe for you and your family, right? And that's what hotels need right now. So it's our opportunity digitally through email, messaging, social media to get those reviews, or even at the desk, remind them, hey, Mr. Smith, when you we know that you loved your stay here. When you get home, do me a huge favor. Please post a review, right? And there's follow-up different technologies that you can use. We talked about it, messaging, emails, social media, how to connect with them to get that review and send them a direct link, right? But that review, hotels still need to be focused on that review right now. So if you have 10% occupancy, most hotels, I talk to a lot of GMs every week and every day, they're like, oh, we're only running 10%. I think that's an excuse, right? The reason why is this is now your opportunity to connect with that 10% of, let's say you have 100 rooms and you have 10%, that's 10 families or 10 people that you have the opportunity to thank them for the business, thank them for staying. We appreciate you guys staying with us. And guess what? Please post a review, right? Huge opportunity to make a connection, a loyal guest, turn them into a raving guest, right? That are going to, raving fan basically, and that's going to tell other people. And that's what happens when you get good reviews, ongoing consistency. Like, there should be, it's an excuse when you say, oh, this hotel hasn't had a review since March, right? If they were closed, that's a different story. But if you're open, guess what? If you're renting one room, you go out and beg that one guest, make them feel really special, give them extra bottles of water when they're leaving, give them something extra so you can get that review. How much is a good review right now worth, right? Think about it, right? And that's a huge marketing opportunity for all of us. And I always review reviews no matter what I do. Buying stuff online through Amazon, buying through a non-popular website, I still look at what other people are talking about this business because I don't trust the business, right? For the most part. I trust what other people say, and same thing when it comes to our business, when it comes to our hotels. Focus on those reviews, come up with a game plan, come up with a team. And if you guys need help, I'm passionate about this. I've come up with the whole process on how to get more reviews for your hotel. Happy to help you.
Yeah, I think that answers a little bit Guillermo Perez's question here, Allan. As a hotel, how can you differentiate from others to attract more direct bookings? For sure, one of the ways is how Rupash was saying now, it's through reviews and fresh reviews, right?
It's also about personalizing the experience. It's usually direct, create that direct relationship and give them a reason to get excited, give them a great guest journey, to get them to tell, get them excited about coming to the hotel, get them excited about what they can do at the hotel, get them telling their friends when it's all done, and just establish that, if you ever look at the Amazon flywheel about bringing people in at various different stages, gather momentum about your hotel, just build that direct relationship.
Yeah, will you give you a review, leave a review, Allan? Now, that's your stage.
Yeah. It's all about social proof. I mean, people, whenever I'm looking for a plumber, I would rather take a recommendation than just find somebody randomly. And I think that's it's the peer-to-peer effect. I mean, it's, and it's something that we've recognized is hugely important as a data source and data feed for us. It's not, it's not specialist technology that we're going to invent ourselves and build ourselves, because there's other people out there that do it better, and that's what they specialize in. So, which gives me a great opportunity to plug our integration we've just announced with Guest Review. For example, there's just some really interesting, cool stuff that they're doing. And, what the hotel, tech industry needs is vendors collaborating with each other and, using each of their data sets to make a generally better experience. And, the social proof side of it is absolutely huge. Get everyone to tell their friends, come and stay at this hotel. It's great.
Yeah. Guys, we are heading to the final. It's already 1 hour here. But there's so much to talk about, and I don't want to finish this without mentioning one important part, I think, for the marketing strategy. We talk about the content, we talk about to target the guests, who are the guests now, but we only mentioned the channels, right? Rupash said a little bit more, but we're talking about the importance of communicating with guests, and we see that it's a huge trend to text messaging, and this is a one-line channel that it's really growing. And we here in the Asksuite, we see our clients getting a lot of direct bookings through messaging for the chatbot in the website, but also in WhatsApp. It's happening because we are used to use WhatsApp. So what's your thoughts about the online channels to communicate with the guests, and what do you guys think hotels should be on and to attract more direct bookings? Maybe Allan, you can start.
I think ideally the hotels should be communicating with the guests and the channel the guests want to be communicated with. I think email obviously has been a huge driver, but it's mature technology, and you're at the mercy of Microsoft or Google deciding that they're going to shut down your emails and put them into spam. But I can understand why a lot of vendors have basically, identified that channel and scaled the hell out of it. But when I look at my teenage daughters, they are not interested in email. They don't use it. They use, obviously TikTok, they use Snapchat, they use obviously text messaging, WhatsApp, and so on. I think we should find a way from a technology perspective of being channel agnostic, and that's really where I see Foresight going, is deciding which is the best channel and deciding from a mobile app point of view as well. I think, if if a guest downloads your app, if you have one at the hotel, that's probably one of your best guests. So let's communicate with them through the app rather than email. However, we want to give them the same messaging or even better messaging. We're doing some really interesting work here. There's an Edinburgh-based company called Crichton that we work with who do mobile apps, and they have an app here at the Hydro. And I'm looking at it going, okay, your best 5,000 guests are in the app. Let's not send them any emails. Let's put everything through the app. And I think the blended approach is best. However, acknowledging technically that can be more difficult if the systems aren't configured properly. So what you find is a lot of hotels just end up going back to email.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. I agree with Allan. We need to know where our guests are coming from and who our audience actually is. And once you get to know where they're coming from or who they are and where they actually live, so your guests, your potential guests, could be living on WhatsApp. They could be potentially living on Facebook. They could be potentially living on LinkedIn. These are all, and also Instagram. These are all different. These are viable channels. Like if you're a guest, if you know you have an audience that's a younger audience, you could be direct messaging them on LinkedIn or on Instagram. How awesome is that? They're already on Instagram. You could put Instagram ads targeting them, and then they can message you directly on Instagram. Now you can convert them into a booking through chat, right? I love those opportunities. There's so many different channels right now that your guests are probably using. It's a huge opportunity right now for direct message through chat where they've already answered all your questions, and now you feel comfortable, especially when you're talking about COVID and the safety and security and sanitization. Chat is going to be is the wave of the future, and I think it's going to continue getting smarter. It's going to continue improving the industry, and I think this is what guests want. They want to know on-demand, customized information for their need.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what you have to understand about the various channels as well is that contextually they're different. A different channel will work at different stages of the journey. So an email might work at the start, but actually when you're actually on site, text messaging might be better. So what is the context of the message that you are pushing out and the message that you want back? So moving them across the different channels at the various stages of the journey is something that really interests me as well. It's something that we're doing some research with a couple of universities here looking at just that. To find out what different triggers. Understand that Instagram works with a certain generation and it works from a very visual point of view, whereas chat is a different level of conversation. So what is the messaging that we want to put out in both? Because it's slightly different.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't even gotten into social media as far as a marketing channel to really target and to really connect and to really get that conversion, that direct booking conversion, instead of paying the 20% or higher on these OTA sites, that you can spend that same money or less and have a really, really loyal guest stay with you. And I love social media. I'm probably on every single channel out there, and I can see that there are so many opportunities for hotels to take advantage of these, because a lot of hotels aren't, especially if they have a bigger, if they have a limited staff, right? Because right now we're really cut down on looked at our labor and said, hey, we can't afford this. That you go to social media to kind of help your following build you up and connect and really get you that booking that you're looking for. And I think social media can definitely do that for you.
Well, guys, this has been great. I'm sure the audience enjoyed the insights. And sorry if I didn't answer any of the questions here on the chat. I'm sorry, but the time is up, unfortunately. If you want to watch it again or share with your friends, with someone, this is being recorded, so don't worry. And I will also want to say that Asksuite is offering our AI chatbot for free. So we put here on the chatbot link so you can request it. And thank you to Rupash and Allan. It was a great pleasure having you here. It's our very first webinar. And Allan, is there any final message or any information that you would like to leave us?
Yeah, we have a 3-month free offer going as well for anybody who wants to talk to us, because come and have a chat. We integrate with a number of the big PMSs out there, various different systems, and we're always happy to talk.
Great. And Rupash, the same to you. Do you have any final message or?
Yeah. I appreciate everybody coming on. Great questions. I've been reading the questions and trying to follow this conversation. So hopefully we can get those answered for the audience. And no, I just appreciate you guys having me on the on your first live. You did a great job, Paula. You did a great job.
God.
And, you didn't fall off your chair like you said you would earlier.
Yeah, you did very well.
Which actually would have been fun if you could just fall off your chair right now. I think that'd be more entertaining. We could probably get a lot more views after this channel. No, marketing is super important right now as we talk about building our hotel back up and getting it back to where it's going to be. It's going to take some time, but those hotels that understand marketing will definitely come out of this stronger than the ones that are not focused on it. They're in flight mode. They're in that fear factor. They're afraid, right? And we know those people out there. My only advice is don't be afraid. Go out there and go learn something that could potentially get you direct bookings, that could help you, and take this. And you could take this once you learn marketing, you could take it to any part of your life, including personal relationships and your business or your career. So that's what I recommend. Thank you so much for having me on. I put the link into my direct LinkedIn connection. Please follow and let's connect there. Ask me a question, direct message me. Happy to connect with you. And I have smartguests.com, which is a print collateral. We do communications on property, old school print, a little bit of everything. I also do consulting. So happy to connect with any of you guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you again, you two. I think we're going to have to do a chapter 2 for this topic for sure. And thank you all for watching us, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye,
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.